Hello, everybody. Old Buck Dave back here again with episode 215 of Two Old Bucks. And of course, the other Buck is none other than
Yeah, old Buck Dell.
Old Buck Dale. How you doing, Old Buck Dale?
Hanging in there. Nothing too exciting on my end of the stick. Of course, you're on assignment, aren't you?
I am on assignment in San Diego, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been here for just about a week now.
Yeah.
And I got two more weeks to go, I guess.
We
And
should tell our listeners that we do send you to places every now and
you
then.
say,
Just
you send me out on
we
assignment.
send you out on assignments, see what's going on
Well,
out
we
there, get
both
a
go out on assignments.
different perspective. Maybe run into a different building or something different while I keep the home fires burning.
Yeah, so we're out of San Diego, and we were here for a shorter time last year. This time, but basically, I leave Florida at this time of the year because the pollen is so bad that I can't take it. So I go to someplace that doesn't have such a high pollen count. It's kind of a lame answer, but
I mean, but even if that's your reason, I never look at it like that. I always think if you're on assignment, discovering new things, and I of course vicariously go along with you on these trips.
yeah. Well, that was the real reason you sent me on assignment.
Yeah,
The other was just my cover story.
I never think that you'd be suffering from something like pollen pollution or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't want to think about anything like that anymore. So,
yeah. So let me tell you a
so
little bit about the trip. How's
yeah,
that?
yeah, I'm
Okay.
listening.
So it started off with another episode of Strangers on a Plane. If you recall, we talked about people you
Uh,
sat next to on a plane.
yeah, people who sit next to you on a plane. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we're flying to San Diego, flying cross country, and I booked us both aisle seats. Okay, so across from each other. As we're sitting down, I had booked myself into the left aisle and her into the right aisle. I don't know, just because. Okay. So she started sitting down in the left aisle seat, and I said, "Hey, that's my seat." She said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, you're right."
Yeah, what difference does it
What
make? Yeah.
difference does it make? Okay. Yeah, that's another little lesson in life there. So she sat down there. I sat down on the right aisle. Nobody else is sitting next to us yet. So the plane fills up. There's nobody next to me. So this is going to be the perfect trip for me. Okay.
Yeah, that's ideal. It's always ideal
I
when
got nobody
nobody next to
spilling
you.
into me here in the next seat. I don't have to get up and let anybody go out. Well, there was somebody on the window, but she slept the whole time, whoever she was. And then a mother and daughter sit
Hey,
down.
hey, Dave, before you go further, isn't that interesting? 2 seats away, not the one next to you. 2 seats away is like another world.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
really have to strike up a conversation with that person.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So
so you're
anyway,
settled in.
so as a mother and her son sit down next to my wife. They move in next to her, and of course the mother's at the window, the son's in the middle, and he's playing video games and doing his thing. And I didn't pay much attention to it. And pretty soon, my wife and the mother are talking to each other, and yapping it up here. It's like, okay, great, go for it. And I was reading a book or something. I look up, and the mother and her son had changed seats. So the mother is now in the middle seat. The kid's he's next to the window playing his video games, and my wife and this woman are just having a good old time the whole trip, which was kind of cute. Turns out this woman was an immigrant also, as our wives are. She's
Hmm.
she's from Iran, or she preferred to say Persia. She said she's Persian. Okay.
I've met some Persians, by the way. They think differently. Persians.
Yeah. Well, I was curious about this afterwards, and I looked at it. That's the biggest ethnic group in Iran. Of course, the Persian Empire.
Hmm.
The old Persian Empire stretched from Eastern Europe to India in fourth, fifth, sixth centuries BCE. It was the first world empire and one of the largest. So that's a little trivia there. Just a little trivia. But anyway, back to the flight. So when the flight was over, we all got up. My wife introduced me to the woman, and the woman's husband came up. He was sitting at another seat somewhere else in the plane, further back. Swapped phone numbers. She recommended a Persian restaurant to us and a Persian hotel. So we walked to the hotel. It was about 2 miles from us, and really, it was like stepping into another world. It was just incredible. Very intricate designs everywhere, the walls, the floors, the furniture, even the bathroom. I think I sent you a couple pictures, right? And it was
Mm,
just dazzling. Uh,
You did, and my thoughts were, I wonder how long it took them to build that.
Yeah,
When you have that kind of intricacy, especially in decor,
yeah,
takes a
yeah.
little bit of talent and time to put that together. So uh, it was worth the visit. Did you get a chance to eat there or anything? Or
Well, that's funny. They had this real exotic looking kind of restaurant there, and a coffee area and a bar, real fancy circular bar, very ornate. Everything was ornate. It was amazing. And attached to it was a perfectly replicated 1950s diner. So, and that happened to be the only place that was serving food at that time. It was like it was late morning, I guess. So we also went in the diner, walked around. I had a milkshake in the diner, so I figured that was just about right.
so was it busy? Was the area you were in busy? Was there a lot of foot traffic at that time of day, or
Uh,
does the hotel seem like it was busy also? Or
the hotel was, I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell. Everything was, it was kind of dark and shadowy. And there were a bunch of, they had a big pool. And there were a bunch of people out at the pool. So I guess, yeah, I guess it was probably doing okay.
do you have a name of it?
It's the Lafayette Hotel. And it's
See,
on
that sounds French.
it's on, I think it's on El Cajon. Uh, Really, it was the woman said to my wife, she said, it's like being home when I go there. It's like being home. Yeah.
So
So
it sounds like a word of mouth place, like that people just know it by word of mouth or
you
something.
know it.
I've never
Yeah.
seen it any,
No,
like visit
no.
California and see the Lafayette Hotel.
Yeah. If I remember, I'll put a link in the show notes to it. It was worth the walk for sure. It was worth
Huh.
the walk for sure. Yeah. Other than that, we're staying in the North Park section of town. Also, this kind of little neighborhood is Altadena. It's very close to Balboa Park and the San Diego Zoo, which is why we booked it, which is why we booked this place. It's a Airbnb. It's a very modern industrial kind of look here. Our son's staying with us. He's in and out. He has got business down here, and so I like it because it's a very very industrial, kind of a stark feeling. It's not a place that, not the way I'd want to decorate my house, but it's everything seems clean and yeah, it's clean and crisp and spectacular kitchen, spectacular stainless steel counters and appliances. It's really nice, really nice.
You know,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I would say, those folks that do the Airbnb now, they're only providing you a location. They're not asking you what your opinion on decor is when you know
No, they're
you
not.
drove
No, they're
right.
not.
And I have a friend who did a little bit of an Airbnb thing, and I always thought his house was really nice. And I'm thinking, well, if you want to live in this location and take your chances, this is wouldn't be the way you would decorate it.
Hmm.
And but still,
Yeah, it's
you're there.
they're there. It's good for a couple of weeks. My son doesn't like it. He says it just doesn't feel homey enough, kind of thing. It's very stark and
There
crisp,
you
and
go.
yeah.
So,
So yeah, but we're having a good time. He took us to the car museum in Balboa Park yesterday. Treated us to the car museum and a little lunch, and so that was
who
nice.
sponsors that? Is that a private organization, that car museum? More
I
like Jay
d-
Leno's car museum or something like that?
it's in the middle of Balboa Park with some other museums. I'm not honestly not sure if I'm guessing that it's maybe a private museum that leases the space from the
Mm,
city.
mm.
Balboa Park is a city park.
So
Uh,
we're talking from early models all the way up to our
oh yeah,
the
yeah,
grand period of the
interesting.
60s and
Yeah,
70s
yeah, a lot
into
of
the modern
interesting
stuff.
stuff. Yeah, some old motorcycles in there as well. Just really an interesting collection, including one of these one of those
You
cars
mean
that
the salt flats or
on
something
the
like
salt
that?
flats. Yeah, one of these cars that runs on the salt flats in Utah. I think it's got the world speed record for its class.
Oh,
And there was we could watch some videos there. It was cute. It was fun.
it's that reminds me of anything like that, anything of that nature. I'm I'm a bit nostalgic of things that I either drove or was around.
Hmm.
Others I'm fascinated maybe by the construction of it or something, but
Hmm.
uh unless I could play with it, you know what I mean? Unless I could actually drive it,
Yeah,
I'm always
well,
like, yeah, you know, obviously you're not going to do that, but I mean,
they
if you,
did have a DeLorean there that you could get in, and so we got in the DeLorean, took pictures.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
So
cute.
you was Back to the Future and the
Back to
DeLorean.
the Future. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't de-age or anything.
Well, all good, all interesting. You always find in those travels, you always find that stuff fascinating, and we talk about it. So, so you're just laying low for another couple weeks, or are you moving around more?
We're going to be here. We'll do some day trips from here, but that's probably we'll go down. Maybe go to Coronado today. We definitely plan another day or two at Balboa Park. It's pretty spectacular. Maybe take the
Oh, you're
zoo
near the
in.
water,
A couple miles from the water. So
so you
we're
can
kind of
do a boat trip or something
up
if
on
you
a
wanted.
plateau. Excuse me. What was the
You could do
question?
a boat trip if you wanted to.
We could do a boat trip if we wanted to. Yeah, we might do that. That might be a day.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of nice things. It's really pretty here. Beautiful, beautiful weather. Met some neighbors already. Got some nice neighbors here. They're very helpful. Here's the best coffee shop in town, right around the corner,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. It's cute.
So those you sent me some questions. I wanted to let our listeners hear this. I thought it would be interesting. Remember you
Yes.
said, what do you think of these questions? And I said, huh, ask me.
Yeah. Yeah. I sent
Give
you
me
this.
some background on it, then
Yeah, a little
ask me.
background. This
Ask
is
everybody, ask all the listeners these questions.
well, yeah, I can post a link to this. This is an article from the New York Times some time ago, and it's like 36 questions to find out if you're in love or something like that. Okay, it's it's a set of 36 questions that get more and more personal, and the idea is that you and your potential partner would ask each other these questions.
Oh,
And as you go through the questions, you would both kind of realize whether you're a fit for each other or not. But some of these questions don't. I mean, I'm not going to propose to you at any time in the future here. So uh,
so does it apply to those of us that got married hotter than a pepper sprout?
that would be you, I guess, right? But I thought
Uh,
the questions get more and more personal. So I just
yeah.
took the first four questions and sent them to you. I thought we could talk about these because this is not something you would necessarily have
I
to.
want to talk about the first question you
These would
sent
be
me.
like old buck questions. Okay,
Yeah.
let me ask the
Remember?
first question.
Hmm.
Given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest?
Now, for all the listeners, I want you to ponder that. Now, I'm just going to assume that this is a living person, right? We'll just
Doesn't
keep
have
it.
to be.
I didn't think it did, but I'm going to choose a living person because I just felt it appropriate for this question. I mean, if I went to invite somebody for dinner, I want to sit and eat and talk to them. So I gave it a lot of thought,
Okay.
and I have my answer. Uh, and the
Drum
answer
roll.
is I'm opening the envelope now. And the answer is the person that I would love to have dinner with would be Anthony Doerr.
Anthony Doerr, the author.
Anthony Doerr, the author, the
Good
man who wrote
choice.
Of a
Yeah.
Light We Cannot See and Cloud Cuckoo Land. And
Yeah. Excellent choice.
I gave that a lot of thought. In fact, that I looked at that and I thought it on and off and on and off and on and off and on. You know, you thought about sports figures or this, that, or the other thing, or
Mm-hmm.
uh, famous people. And I said, this is a man who would challenge my brain to figure out how his mind could work like that to write the books
To
that he
write that
wrote.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, to write
Yeah.
that stuff. And I thought it'd be absolutely fascinating to hear his logic of how he put that one story together, that Cloud Cuckoo Land story.
Yeah.
Uh, so that would be the guy I would choose.
Excellent
So who would
choice.
you choose?
Well, I got a little more liberal here. I chose my dad. Okay, I would love to have dinner with my dad.
Well,
Of course, he died at age 72, New Year's Day, 1982, way too early, unexpectedly. And just to kind of bring him up to date on the family, tell him what's going on since he left us. Life is good. Da 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 da. Tell him I love him. Probably didn't say that enough to each other. Back in the day. And I just tell him what I think about him every day. And I really do. I really do.
because
Um,
when you mentioned that, that's I mean, I thought about that too. I mean, somebody like that, that maybe passed away, was really close to
mhm.
you. And it is like you would. I've always hoped that my dad now passed away at 62,
Yeah,
and
even earlier, even
and
sooner.
he barely saw me succeed and fail a couple of times. You know what I mean? Every time I came home with the trunk, everything in the trunk of the car that I was driving is that all that I owned, and I come pitch it up for a couple of days.
Uh,
So where I fuel up, borrow some money from him, and go off again or something like that. He probably never would have. He didn't live long enough to see me succeed and fail and succeed and survive. Pretty much.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was a good choice. Well,
That's interesting. I mean, not only have we known each other forever, we've known each other's dads
we
forever.
did, we did.
Your dad, Joe, was just a sweet guy,
Yeah,
big hulking guy. I mean,
6'3".
6'3" and just looks like
Uh,
all muscle. And he and my dad, of course, they worked together.
they did.
Maintaining the ball field, and
That's right.
so they were good buddies. So yeah, yeah. So your dad was a good guy.
Well, to all those folks out there listening, that's a question you can ponder. If you want to write something into us or tell us about that, we'd love to hear from you. But
Yeah, good point.
so,
Yeah.
what was the next question?
Next question. Would you like to be famous? And if so, in what way? Talk to
Now,
me.
did you? What does the word famous mean?
Well, I'm going to give it a very wide berth
Because I
here.
I looked it up.
Okay, tell me. Tell me. I kind of looked at it as somebody who's world renowned, well known by everybody,
known far and wide,
known
basically.
for yeah.
Right. So somebody, well, like you would have to say Taylor Swift or somebody. She would be famous, right?
There you go.
Or
That's kind of a
um,
worst case
yeah, a
or best
quarterback
case,
for
I guess.
a.
Yeah,
I mean, a quarterback for a football team would be
right.
famous, but I don't know if they'd be world famous. Maybe she is, but
Well, it just says
famous
famous.
is
Would you
far and
like to
wide.
be famous? And in
Actually,
what way?
I you know I thought about that, and sometimes in the parameters of your world, you can be famous. You know what I mean? Like we came from a small town nestled
Uh-huh.
between two hills with a river in the middle and the
The
train
river
tracks
runs
next to the
through it.
river
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything on either side. So if you were known there, you were kind of famous. You could walk down the street, everybody knew you.
You were famous. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if you look at the parameters of the world you're in, but I have no desire to be more famous than that. I mean, I have no desire to even to put in the effort to become world renowned, even if I came up with something really
Uh-huh.
fantastic, like those guys you discover who you said, I wonder who developed that, some little scientist we never heard too much about,
Mm-hmm.
but he came up with something called Velcro, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or and never became world famous, yet what he did was, you know, had a world impact. So
Yeah.
no desire to be famous.
Yeah. I'm thinking similarly. Okay. I'm maybe a little more flamboyant than you are in this whole thing. Because I mean, I would not like to be movie star famous. I would not like to be Taylor Swift famous. I would not like to be NFL quarterback famous, that sort of thing. That just seems like it's so exhausting, you know. But maybe niche famous, like have famous in a little niche. And like you pointed out, the guy who invented Velcro, something
Yeah.
like that would be all right. So the kind of things I'm thinking like, well, it would be nice to have been a pro cyclist, win a couple of the Tour de France events, something like that. Um,
You mean like to say you were the first person who was 68 years old and come in 15th in the Tour de France or something like
yeah, maybe something like that.
that.
Yeah, maybe a little more aggressive than that. But somebody that's known in their sphere, but not necessarily worldwide famous kind of thing.
Well,
I think
I'm
that'd be
gonna I'm gonna go out on a limb here, but I'm gonna predict that you probably will be known in your sphere, as you say it, if after April
oh,
and you go off into sometime in the summer and on a bike and you go that many miles on a bicycle at that age, at our age, I think somebody would say, "Look at that guy." So
he
you'll be famous.
he may not be famous, but he's stupid, something like that. Yeah, I mean other kind of things like maybe be an author, like not James Patterson or Stephen King famous, anything like that. Maybe somebody like Rick Bass or Kevin Barry, somebody
Well,
who's kind of appreciated within their niche.
don't you have
That's
to start a little bit earlier in life than we did? I mean, you didn't have time for much of that until you kind of retired and you was able to.
well, I'm presuming we can turn back the hands of time here. I mean, I'm not starting today. It's too late for any of this. Or maybe
That's true. But
other things that I thought about over time, like a singer songwriter. I had
really,
yeah, I thought about that for I thought it would be cute. It'd be cool. Again, not to be filling stadiums or anything, but maybe small venues.
so
But
we could be like what Gershwin and I mean, who's the other guy? There's a couple of songwriters. Neither one of us plays an instrument well enough to do that. But you
well,
could.
that was probably the part of the thing that shelved that long ago because I cannot play an instrument and I cannot sing. So
Yeah.
I think like maybe like a medical researcher, somebody who does something that's beneficial, but it's not, you know. I think
Okay.
we're kind of talking down the same trail here. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
I'm being a little more.
And when I tell you about this new book I discovered, I'll mention something similar to that. So what was another? There was the next
Okay,
question in there. What was the next
we
question?
got four questions here. We may or may not get through all four today because we have other things. Anyway, this one's kind of a. Before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say? Why?
I don't rehearse what I'm going to say, but I have a. There are an occasions when the point you're trying to make is, I want an appointment with the doctor.
Why did I know this was going
You know
down
what I
this
mean? Yeah.
road?
I want an appointment. I would like the technician to come out and fix this refrigerator or something. That's the point you're trying to make, but not like you can rehearse it because any little word on the other side can send you in a different direction. But no, I don't do that. So I have an idea of what I'm trying to get the AI person on the other side to agree
Yeah,
with.
yeah. And my answer is pretty much mirrors yours. Like
Mm,
if I'm calling a service person to come out and get this or that done, I make some notes because I want to make sure everybody understands or have the fantasy that they actually listen and understand what I'm saying. Uh, so I make notes. But if I'm calling you, I'll have a couple things in my head, but I certainly don't rehearse anything
mm,
because
mm.
you're going to kidnap the conversation anyway and go
And,
somewhere
and
else.
occasionally, and occasionally we forget what we started out
We
to do.
forget. Yeah. Did I call you or did you call me? Yeah. All right. Let's move on to number 4. What would constitute a perfect day for you?
You know, I gave that quite a bit of thought because there have been days where uh, something. I mean, just stood back and said, "Boy, that was a nice, fun day." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
However, I didn't get started till 11 o'clock. And I finished at 3
Uh-huh.
or something. You know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah.
it was just it was a good day in that whatever I was doing in the morning worked out well, and I felt well enough to keep moving. I made it through the day, got to go see this, maybe that, or whatever it was. And I mean, I thought, well, what about the time I was sitting on a mountainside looking over at the edge of the earth? And I said, huh, that was a pretty good day. But again, that only lasted about 2 hours too. It took 2 hours to walk there and 2 hours to walk back. You know,
Uh-huh.
only looked at the view for about 20 minutes, and that was it. So I don't know. A perfect day is, I guess, a good day without any drama, any trauma. No,
Mm-hmm.
not tripping, falling, hurting, seeing anything that you, something like that, or maybe you were the special person. We've had some great days. I
We have
mean,
had some great
we
days.
could look back on it and say this
Some
was, we
we had
laughed and
some
carried
road
on.
trips.
Yeah, we had some absolutely great
We
days.
had
To say this
I
was
can
a
remember
good day.
some great evenings, some great nights that we had back in high school too. But
I'm afraid I don't remember any of that.
you
Do
don't
you?
remember any of
No.
that.
So, what do you consider a great day? I mean, you've
Uh,
been places. You've been in a fjord.
well, yeah. You know what I would, you know how I would consider what I would. This is the one I probably gave more thought to than any of them.
Uh,
Um, I would start with 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep. That's how my perfect day would start. Okay, no trips to the bathroom. No,
from
no
9 to 7, 9 o'clock at night, previous to 7 in the morning, and
Oh,
that's
that's that's 10 hours, but
who's counting.
picky. Okay, yeah. And then I would have I would make my coffee because I kind of make the best coffee on the planet.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe have a light breakfast, and then if it's warm weather, I would do a hilly bike ride. Okay. Or if it's winter, of course we don't have any winter down here in Florida. And one of the things I miss is going cross country skiing. So I would love to do a morning cross country ski through the woods, and I can just picture doing that, and being the first one out on the woods and cutting through the trails and
Now,
just
I should warn our listeners that you've done these things,
absolutely, yeah,
so
yeah.
you've had many good
So
days.
these have been good days, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And then
many
maybe
good
lunch
days.
with my wife and a couple friends. Maybe we sitting next to a lake in the mountains. Uh,
You've done that too. You're
well, I mean that's yeah,
those were all good days. You're
yeah, and
reminiscent
then
now.
yeah, maybe afternoon, maybe do a little sailing in the afternoon. Yeah, like
On
maybe
what
read a good short story on on the boat.
you're
Maybe just
talking, Captain Jim's 60-foot yacht.
there
That's
we
a good.
go. Yeah, yeah, on Captain Jim's yacht. Yeah,
Oh
um,
my soul.
yeah, maybe just like a light appetizer dinner with the family. Have all the family there. Maybe a little walk in the woods after dinner to walk off the little bit of dinner. And then we'd have a private screening of a movie in the evening.
Ladies and
And I'm
gentlemen,
not sure what movie that would be yet, but we would have a private screening for the family and friends.
you just heard a man tell you about many good days.
Many good days, yeah.
79 years full of good days.
Yeah. And you know how that day would end?
What?
I would hear a news flash that Trump and all his cronies have been abducted by aliens and sanity has been restored to the planet. How would that be? Huh?
Well,
That's the most perfect of all.
we'll have to wait and see
Not
on
that
that
I'm
one.
political or anything.
Hey, listen, we were talking earlier about um, what were we talking earlier about? Being
That
famous.
was a long time ago.
Yeah, being famous.
Being
And,
famous. Yeah.
and in my effort to scour up something to read, I ran across a British author. I overlooked a lot of the detectives and uh, the heroes in our normal Patterson Library kind of that crowd.
Hmm.
So I discovered these author named Christopher Fowler, Fowler, Christopher Fowler,
Owler. I'm going to
and it
write
turns
this
out
down.
he created two 70-year-old characters that are sort of working for the police department, but how they got there, it's all funny. It's a lot of humor in it about how they ended up in this particular division. They're very talented in solving cases, uh, and they ended up working in a special division called the PUC,
He used
PCU. No, the PCU. the Peculiar Crimes Unit. And
Okay, I'm with
he,
you.
this what's makes it to me what makes it interesting is that here these two characters are friends, and they reminded me of you and me. And it's like if you have if you have a situation where you have two people that are working together and trying to solve a problem or trying to do something, and plus having all the humor that goes with it. I mean, they can almost read each other's mind.
This sounds
And
scary.
yeah,
Was,
well,
did
one
somebody have
is
a camera on us for a couple of years, or
these two
uh,
characters they're really good, and one is much more technically advanced than the other is
that would
always.
be you?
I think you're more technical advanced. The other one is always losing his cell phone or doesn't believe we should have a typewriter or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So anyhow, I have just started plowing through this, I thought I'd mention it as
Give
another
me the title
alternative.
again. Give everybody the title again.
The title is Christopher Fowler, and this particular book is called The Water Room. But
Can you hold it
any
up here? Maybe we'll get a video of this. Christopher Fowler, The Water Room. Okay.
and the thing about it is, if you happen to see it, the characters that run through a couple of his stories that I'm talking about are called Brent, Brant, and May. Those are
Okay.
the two. Those are the two men. Uh, so if you find another story by him, not this title, that feature those two characters, pick it up
Okay.
and take a look at it. So it's a change of pace,
All
for
right.
without having to resort to a big book, which I have trouble holding, or large print. So that's my story about the book title.
Maybe Christopher Fowler would be the kind of author I'd like to be, I guess. Not world famous, but people
He's
enjoy his books.
actually the Christopher Fowler passed away in 2023.
Okay, I'd like less to be like him then.
But as we delve into I mean, you're reading. Well, would you read short stories? In fact, he was telling me
Yeah.
about a short story you were looking at. But the as we endeavor to amuse ourselves with literature and fascinate ourselves with how the books are made and the ability to write books, we've talked to people about that. So uh, every now and then you pick something up different, and away you go.
Well, I've got one little bit of culture news to add here.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched two movies since we last spoke.
Mm-hmm.
I watched both Honora and A Real Pain, and I can you pick which one you want me to talk about.
Talk about this Honora thing.
Okay, Honora is the movie that Mikey Madison won the Best Actress Oscar for, and after watching the movie, she definitely deserved it. It was really an amazing performance. Uh, she plays this sex worker who meets the son of a Russian oligarch,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a good time together. They have a lot of fun together, and he says, if I married an American, I probably wouldn't have to go back to Russia. Blah blah blah. They run off to Vegas and get married. Okay, just like that. Oh, that part of the movie's fun, and then the rest of the movie is the family and the family's thugs and everybody trying to unravel this whole thing. So it's a dark comedy. Okay, it's got some scenes that really like, ugh. But some scenes I just fell out of my chair laughing. They were just she was spectacular. She really was spectacular. I haven't seen The Brutalist yet, but a listener did write in and said if you thought it was pornographic, don't see Honora. I like the first 20 minutes of Honora. There was a lot of action there. Yeah, I was, kind of setting the stage there. But I was she was spectacular, and actually the
Well, that
a guy who played one of the Russian characters
trying to undo the
the
situation.
guy who played one of the Russian characters trying to undo the situation did a
Yeah.
really good job there. I can't remember his name. I think he was nominated for supporting actor.
we have this giant movie following now because everybody listens to our recommendations
Yeah,
on books,
I'm
books and
sure.
movies.
Yeah.
So both of those people were going to consider what you say. I did not. The Brutalist, I said the acting was one thing, but I didn't. I just didn't see how the rest of the sex fit into it. So this is
Mhm.
it starts out. She's a sex worker.
She's a
so
sex worker. Yeah.
you knew the job was dangerous when you took it, kind of a thing. So what do you? How many stars you give it? You're going to
Well,
recommend
this
it
is
or?
5 stars. Yeah.
Oh,
She was really spectacular. A couple of the other people did a great job, and it was, it was very funny in parts. It was not so funny in other parts, but I thought it was really well done.
old Buck Dave gives it a 5 star, and so all your listeners out there who who follow us and give us some credibility of knowing what we're talking about, go for it. They
Go
can write
for it.
in and tell us what you thought about it. So we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Tell us about anything.
Yeah.
Answer
What
one
was
of
the
the
other
four
movie? What was the
questions.
other movie you saw?
I can talk about that if you like. That one was A Real Pain.
I don't know that one.
That's the title of the movie, A Real Pain. Kieran Culkin won Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars. Another great performance, really. He showed everybody, he wasn't a one-hit wonder with Succession. If you watch Succession, he was spectacular in that.
Mm.
Jesse Eisenberg, I think, is he played the other cousin. They're cousins. Jesse, I think, wrote it and directed it.
The premise is what?
Well, they're cousins. They're going to Poland on on a little Holocaust tour to honor their late grandmother from Poland,
Oh,
who had died a few years earlier. Okay, so they're very, very different personalities, both kind of imperfect, flawed people like all of us, who really love each other, but sometimes they make each other crazy.
that sounds like a theme going on. Brutalist had a lot of that too, like imperfect people driving the people crazy. It must be a bit of a
Kind of like the world,
Yeah, it's
like
kind
the
of like
world.
going on now.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, we
all
covered
right,
both of them, so maybe it's time to bail out here.
it's time for the 2 old bucks to sign off for this particular episode. All righty, I would say thank you all to all our listeners for tuning in. Please write to us, talk to us. We always enjoy that. And this is Old Buck Dell saying I'll talk to you next time.
Old Buck Dave saying same thing. Adios, folks. Talk to you again. Keep those cards and letters coming in. Bye-bye.